GM guys, GM. How you doing? Good morning. Good morning. Um, so today we are going to talk about something very interesting. It's a project in the Zen ecosystem, which I'm very excited about for many reasons. These guys have been working incredibly hard for many months with this project, and they are technical and financial artists, you have to say. Put a lot of love into this project and to make it as great as possible. And the way that they have done it is also exemplary. They made something very innovative. They have provided the documentation. They've made examples of the concepts. They made the test nets. They created a community. They iterated with the community. They made the game better. Listened to the community. They've been in spaces. They had voice chats. They tried it on various test nets. They did an audit, completed the audit, and that's all about the how. But when it comes to the what, that's equally interesting. It's a new type of sophisticated and exciting game, which our ecosystem could have a lot of fun with, I think. And it contains technical elements which are interesting on their own, and but these technical components also as a whole build up a pretty cool phenomena that at least has the ingredients to engage a lot of activity. So for instance, they have a burn mechanic that's interesting that I want to talk about. They have a referral system. It's built for engagement, I think. They give utility for the Apex. The way in using the native gas token is interesting. Not primarily using Zen, but burning Zen in a secondary way. And I think it's a lot of exciting and fun with this concept. And this is what one community member said about this game. If I had to grade the way a team went about themselves in developing within the community, I give these guys a 10 out of 10. Transparent, accessible, participative, and responsive, as well as patient and assiduous. I don't know what assiduous is, but I think it's a good thing. Ludwig and also the dev Java Beans, top notch. So let's dive right in, guys. We are very lucky to have two celebrities in the XEN.game team here today. And we have both Ludwig and Mr. Java Beans. How you doing, guys?
Doing great, man. Thank you for that glowing introduction.
Doing good, thank you.
Good. Thanks for taking the time to come on the stream and present your game. How does it feel to be so close to launch? Because I know you guys have put in a lot of work for this for months.
Feels good. A little nervous. Jama Beans, how you feel?
It's exciting. It's I could feel it. The build up. It's definitely there. I don't know. It's there.
Do you look ready at least? So that's a good sign. do you have everything under control?
I believe so.
We're very confident in the product itself. Just nervous to see the amount of participation that we get.
Yeah, and let's go straight into the meat of the game, because there's a lot of different ways to participate. But I asked you, Ludwig, a few days ago if you could make a. I'm a big fan of TLDR. Just a one-pager that explains the whole concept, because it's a very sophisticated concept. Just to get an overview, and then we can dive right into the many different complex components. And you did an awesome one. So go ahead. Maybe give an introductory to the game as a whole.
Yeah. So before I jump into the one pager, at its fundamental core, what this is a war of attrition game. And what that means is that players are competing with their resources in order to win a prize, which in this case is a jackpot full of ether. And ultimately, the person that wins that is the one who outlasts everybody else. And that can go on for a potentially infinite amount of time. The rounds start with 12 hours on the clock, but that doesn't mean they're going to end after 12 hours. They can go on for an unlimited time as long as there are at least two people competing for that grand prize. And meanwhile, while that's going on, 50% of all the revenue that comes through the game is being passed to other players of the game. So there's many ways to benefit from this, even if you're not trying to go for the grand prize itself. So let me share my screen and we can jump into some specifics. Let me know when you can see that.
Yeah, I think it's good now.
Okay, so the core asset of the game is keys. So when you buy a key, you put yourself in the winner's seat to win the jackpot. And if nobody buys a key after you and the timer ends, you end up winning the grand prize. But a key also represents ownership in the game. So if you own keys, you are entitled to a certain amount of revenue that's flowing through the game. So I imagine the way a lot of, or most people will play the game is simply by buying keys. And there are other aspects to the game which benefit the Xen ecosystem. One of them is the Apex Fund. So if you have an Apex NFT, you can register it with our contract, and each class of Apex NFT has a specific weight assigned to it. And you will receive rewards proportional to the weight of your NFTs that you have registered in the contract. And 5% of all of the revenue coming through the game goes toward that Apex Fund. So that could be some pretty nice passive rewards for people that have that. There's also a fund for burning Xen. So 15% of all the revenue that comes through the game goes toward the burn fund. And this allows any player to essentially execute a buy and burn, which means that they can click a button, which will take all of the ether from the burn fund, buy Xen from Uniswap, and burn it. And whoever clicks that button gets credited with that burn record. So they will be entitled to the X1 airdrop that comes later from the core Xen team. So that could be pretty exciting for somebody who maybe doesn't have the resources to acquire a ton of Xen on their own. Now they can get the entire burn fund worth of burn for just paying a transaction fee. And like I said, the last key unlocks the jackpot. So if you are the last one to purchase before the time ends, you come out as the triumphant winner. And when the round ends, there are some Ethereum bonuses that get paid out to the people that have burned keys. We didn't get into that yet, but we will. And then also a 20% bonus to the Apex Fund. And below all these mechanics, I have a visualization of the revenue distributions. So it's important to realize that there are two distributions that happen. So the revenue distribution happens in real time while the game is being played. So each time a key is purchased, that's this graphic on the left. You see 50% goes toward key holders, 30% goes toward the jackpot, 15% to the burn fund, and 5% to the Apex Fund. And that continues the entire time that the round is going on. And then when the round actually ends, there's a second distribution where the jackpot is split 4 ways. So 50% of the jackpot goes to the winner who actually bought that last key. 20% goes to those who have burned their keys. 20% goes to the Apex, and then the last 10% carries over into the next round. And as it says here, the rounds are rolling. So as soon as one round ends, there will be a 24-hour intermission. And after that, the next round will begin. And this will go on in perpetuity. And another way to earn is also by referring your friends. So if you have an influence, either on Twitter, YouTube, or just within your local community, you can create a referral link and share that. And whoever uses your link will pass you 5% of all of their spending within the game, as well as they will get a 5% rebate on all of their spending. So they get a discount and you get an earning as well. And those are the core mechanics. The one thing we didn't get into was burning keys. And that happens when you withdraw rewards. So if you have a bunch of keys and you're earning dividends and you like the size of those dividends, you can decide to pull them out of the game, but doing so will burn your keys, which means you'll stop receiving dividends for them, but you will be entitled to this 20% key burn bonus at the end of the round.
Yeah, man, that was an awesome introduction, which covered it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it covered basically the whole concept, and then we can dive into the various details. But it's just attacking this game. It's pretty clear that you can do it from various different ways, right? You can buy keys. You can you just use the referral system. You can register your Apex. You can do all of it, and you can also choose whatever it is you want to do. You can also, it's a proof of participation protocol in the highest extent, because you can also just be on top with the burning mechanism. So yeah, awesome. Very well done. Do you guys want to go into the individual components, or do you want to show the UI of the game, perhaps?
Yeah, absolutely. I can show a little UI. This will be familiar to people that participated in the testnet, but for anyone that hasn't seen it, this is how it's going to look. So the game begins with a 5-minute fair launch period. And as I mentioned before, keys represent ownership of the game. So in this fair launch period, everybody gets a chance to get ownership of the game for the exact same price. So this
starts the deployment of this. You're going live on Ethereum on the 17th. So that's this Sunday, right?
That's right. That's this Sunday, 4 p.m. UTC. And the fair launch event will start right at that timestamp. So this page will show up on the website, and you'll have 5 minutes to contribute Ether to the fair launch if you choose to do so. And in real time, you'll see your key allocation. So if you contributed 2 Ether, for example, and there's 118 total contributed, you'll see that you have about 400,000 keys. And this will adjust as other people enter the fair launch as well, because there's only a total of 10 million keys issued during the event. And then as soon as this...
So it updates live. Like if I'm the first one to put in whatever amount, there's no minimum amount to participate here. No minimum buy-in, so to speak. You can just put whatever, and then it will be equally distributed at the end.
Exactly. So if you're the first one that puts Ether into this, you'll see that you have 10 million keys.
Yeah.
And if other people start contributing as well, it'll shrink down and it'll be proportional to your percent of the total.
Gotcha. And how long was this this round one? What do you call it? The opening act?
We're just calling it the fair launch event. In the contract, Jama Beans referenced it as the early buy-in period. But either way, you have 5 minutes to get in at the ground floor price for keys before the game begins. And all of the Ether that's collected during these 5 minutes is used to fund the starting jackpot of the game. So as soon as this ends, as soon as this timer goes to 0, the main interface will load. And this is where you actually play the game. So you'll see who's winning. And in this example, Satoshi is winning. And he's winning 753 Ether. So that's the jackpot size. And below that,
he's the last one to have bought a key, right? So he's the man on the hill. And that's continuously how it works. The last one to have bought the key is the current winner. And every time someone buys the key, it adds time. So that's why it can be an infinite game forever, basically. Potentially. Or not.
Potentially. Yeah, well, what's interesting is during the testnet, we actually created a very accelerated round. So we capped out the timer at 2 hours. We made the increase per key only 3 seconds. So each time a key was purchased, only 3 seconds were added to the clock. And people were playing with fake money. So there's really no reason to be that invested in it, but somehow people still kept the timer going for days and days. So we can only imagine what people will do when it's real money involved.
So a question there right away, is it every time you buy a key, it adds 30 seconds and you're going, your deployment strategy is to put this on all the various chains, correct me if I'm wrong. So all the different chains have different block times. Is that something you're considering, or are you going to have 30 seconds for whatever chain you're on?
We haven't discussed the mechanics for some of the alternate chains. We may be doing accelerated rounds on some of them. So something more similar to the testnet, where you have a smaller maximum time and you have a smaller addition of time per key. But that hasn't been discussed yet. We've really had our blinders on and been all in on Ethereum right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. You might want or need to do some adjustments depending on the chain later on.
Well,
Right, and we'll be able to observe. Sorry, go ahead, Jama Beans.
at the moment, it's using the timestamp, not the block number. So if we move to a chain that has slower blocks or faster blocks, it won't necessarily make a difference, because we're always going to have that same Unix timestamp.
Gotcha. I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Right. So this is the key. This is the key participation engagement activity, right? You're just buying keys, and you can see on the right side there the recent activity. So the one who bought the keys latest will be at the top of the screen.
That's exactly right. And in this example, it's not accurate. You can see that Zensu was the last one who purchased keys. So really, Zensu should be the one winning up at the top here. And he'll stay there until somebody else comes and purchases a key after him and replaces him in that spot. And then you're right that buying keys is the main core aspect of the game. But if you don't want to participate in that, you can simply register an Apex NFT in this section here and just collect passive rewards from the game ongoing. And that doesn't require you to buy any keys, doesn't require you to involve yourself in the game in any other way. It's simply a reward for people that have burned some of the Zen supply. And that'll be ongoing.
Apex. There we go. You got tired of us giving utility, so you decided to do it yourself. That's the way it should be.
Yeah, I think I told you that on a Telegram chat a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I minted some Apexes early on, thinking that the next project was right around the corner. And then we stopped hearing about it. And I was like, well, if they're not going to build something, I guess I will. So now we have this.
That's the spirit. That's what I like to hear. Awesome. So all you need to do is just connect your wallet with the Apex that you have on it and register it. So you basically click a button and then it's registered, and then you'll just collect fees for whatever, and that's all you have to do. So that's great for participation. How about if I have? Does it matter if you have two wallets and you have an Apex here and there? You just register it with them both. It doesn't really matter. You don't get any accumulative bonuses for having more than one Apex on one account or anything like that.
No, that's exactly right. The weights will be the same no matter how many different wallets you're playing from. It doesn't give you any benefit to aggregate them into one.
These distributions, do they go continuously, or are they like batched together for some time period and then sent out?
No, it's in real time. It's
Real
just
time.
like the key come in with each key purchased. And you can claim those anytime you want. The only thing you can't claim is the Apex bonus down here. That's paid out when the game ends. So you'll have to wait for the round to be over before you can claim that bit.
So I guess the contract holds the funds, right? And then your wallet makes you eligible to get the custody or whatever you can claim. So Jama Beans, what do you have been audited, and I know you're a very good developer, Jama Beans. We know that from experience. But what would you say about this contract being a honeypot for potentially being hacked? Do you have any comments on that?
Well, I haven't been able to find a way to hack it myself, and that's really the best that I can do. The auditor couldn't find a way either. It is working on the test network. It doesn't honeypot or trap any funds. And you could see that the same code from the test network is the same code that we're using on the main net.
Mm.
So I would say it's safe. That being said, I can't say that any contract out there is 100% safe from being hacked, any of them.
Right.
But I think we really did hard work here to make sure that these funds were going to be safe.
Yeah. You can do what you can do, and you've done. You self audited. You have an external auditor. You tried it on testnet. You made it available for people to see the code. It's all open source. There's no hidden secrets. So there's only so much you can do, but there's never 100% certainty, of course. People always need to have their big boy pants in all aspects.
Yeah, never invest anything more than you're willing to lose. I think that's a universal rule for all crypto projects. But we definitely have done our best to ensure the security of it. And the contracts are open source right now. If people want to go ahead and check out the code themselves, you're welcome to do it. There's still 5 days until we launch.
5 days to go time.
Maybe 4.
Yeah, it's a little bit less, right?
86 hours, 37 minutes, 37 seconds.
Yeah, you guys seem so ready. It's ridiculous almost. I can tell you're a bit. You must be a bit excited and nervous to the upside as well. But I think the community is pretty excited about this. I think the participation will be pretty good. I hope so. It's pretty exciting. Like, how should you participate? We talked about that. You can participate by buying keys, by registering Apex. We haven't talked about the other parts. I guess you guys should take that away as well.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
With buying keys, there's a change you did from V1 to V2 as well. We should talk about that, which is pretty substantial, right? That you have this option. Okay, so I want to talk about that. You have this option whether you should burn your keys or not, and also before I forget, that the pricing of the keys, which has a mechanism.
Yes, that's right. So in version 1 of the game, what we saw was that people that participated in this fair launch event here, they ended up controlling the key supply for the entire game and creating a monopoly on it, to the point where they were taking all of the dividends, and the people that joined later in the game were really not getting a fair cut. So what we came up with was that when you withdraw your rewards, you burn all your keys. So somebody who got in the fair launch, they have to decide whether they want to withdraw their rewards or let them sit and collect more dividends. And like I mentioned earlier, there's a 20% bonus to all of those people who did burn their keys. So if the round ends and you didn't burn your keys, you're missing out on a pretty substantial bonus from the jackpot. So that creates a pretty big incentive from the moment the game begins for people to destroy their keys. And that makes it much more fair to people that join later, because they can get a more meaningful percent of the key supply, and the fair launch people don't control it for the entire game. And so that's the major change that we made from V1 to V2. Nothing else has really been significantly changed.
So what should I do? I buy the keys. Should I hodl them? Because then I'm collecting dividends continuously, or should I burn them? Because what was the benefit of burning them? Your keys.
Well, you get a bonus. So
Right.
20% of the jackpot goes to people that have burned keys.
Oh, right.
So if if nobody burned keys and you're the only one who burned keys, well, you're entitled to 20% of the jackpot, just you.
Right.
So there is a big incentive to do it. And if you don't do it, then you're just missing out on that free money at the end of the game. So it forces players to bet on when they think the game is going to end. And if you think it's not going to end anytime soon, then you're probably better off holding your keys. But if you're expecting that it's going to end any second now, you probably want to burn them. It's really up to your own outlook on the future of the game.
Yeah, and that's what makes this whole game so like that's one of the things that makes it exciting, because you don't know and it depends, and all the information is there and it's on-chain data. And this is what's so cool with the Zen ecosystem, and when you're building projects like this. This is why I'm one of the reasons why I'm excited about this game, because it makes it very exciting. Like, first you have to guess what you are going to do, but you also have to guess what everyone else is going to do, right? So it's a very interesting dynamic there.
That's exactly right. And I like to say it's a game of incomplete information, meaning you don't know how much money other people are ready to spend in order to win this jackpot. So you might be going after the jackpot with a wallet full of 3 ether, thinking you're about to win it, but you don't know that your opponent has a wallet with 300 ether, and he's willing to keep buying keys until he's completely bust. So you never know when the game is about to end. It's really exciting in that sense.
And on that, while buying the keys, before we move on, what's interesting is you're not coming into this game with Zen. So you built in the Zen burn. You're coming in with native on whatever chain you're on. And that's how you're participating. So you're buying the keys with the native gas token, not Zen, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and that was an intentional choice. I really love Zen, and I wanted to benefit Zen as much as possible with this project, but I see it as a major hurdle for participation in a protocol when people have to have Zen to do so. And I wanted to make sure that this protocol could expand beyond the Zen community to bring in new participants into the Zen community. And I thought the best way to do that was to use a crypto that everybody's already familiar with, that everybody already has. So that's why Ether is the core token for this.
Super interesting to see how the efficiency of that strategy. It's a lot of logic to it, I must say, and part of the purchases of the keys goes to the Zen burn, which anyone can activate, right?
That's right. So down here,
sorry, before that, we create crypto. You get a drip from registering your Apex for how long? In perpetuity, as long as your Apex is registered.
That's correct. Yep. And your Apex will stay registered unless you transfer it to another wallet and it gets registered by a different wallet.
If it gets transferred, that wallet has to register it. It's not staying registered.
Yeah, Jama Beans can speak more on how that works.
If it gets transferred, technically you're still receiving the reward, but when you go to withdraw, it's going to not give you that reward. You have to have ownership of the NFT, both when you register it and whenever you make a withdrawal. So in theory, you could register one and transfer, even sell it. And if you notice that the other person never registered it, you could buy it back and then go and collect all your rewards. Gotcha. It really only depends on who interacts with our contract, because we can't track what the NFT is doing in between.
However, no one is allowed to sell their Apex in general. So.
Wouldn't dream of it.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
So the burn fund, that's one thing we didn't really discuss here on the interface. And that's this window on the bottom left here. And you can see that the burn fund balance is visible. Everyone can see what it is. And at any time, somebody can click this burn Zen button, and that will execute the buy and burn. So that will send this 750 Ether to Uniswap to do a market buy and then burn all of that Zen. And whoever clicked that button will be credited with that burn record. they'll also earn this burn incentive down here. And this is not accurate. It would be 1% of this total balance here. So it would be 7.5 ether somebody would earn just by clicking this. And once you click it, you get hit with the gatekeeping function. And this is something that Jama Beans came up with to make sure that people weren't monopolizing the function. Essentially, once you hit that burn button, it'll lock for 24 hours or until 5 other people have used the function. So that allows more players to use it instead of just one person sitting there gatekeeping it all day.
So it's accumulating, and you can hit the button, but you also have to pay gas to execute that function. How gas intensive? So you can't just sit and like all day go casino on that button, right? You have to let it accumulate to a certain extent where it makes sense to make a profit on it.
That's right. Yeah, and doing a live test, I did a live test on Ethereum the other day, and it was about $18 when Gwei was at 20. So that's about what you should expect.
So this is a brilliant way. Like let's recap what you just said. Part of the buying of the keys, of the funds coming into this protocol, goes towards this burn fund, which just accumulates and accumulates and accumulates. And instead of you being a central authority deciding when to burn or whatever, anyone can interact with your contract, press this button, and it will take those burn funds minus the burn premium that you get, and send it to Uniswap to buy Zen with it from the market.
Exactly.
And it will take that Zen and then burn it.
That's right.
And I, as the executioner who participated in it, I will get the burn record for that action, which gives me the XN airdrops and whatnot.
Yeah. What it actually does is it'll make the purchase, and then it'll transfer that Zen over to the user, kind of like a flash loan, and then we require that user to burn it within the same transaction. So then we call the burn function from that user's account. That's how we're able to credit that user with the burn.
Yeah, something happened with my mic. Let me know if you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I could hear you.
Nice. So this is beautiful, guys. This is just like financial artistry. So this is the what? Tell us, how did you come up with this, and why did you construct it in this way, and what was the challenge of doing it?
Well, first off, we wanted to support the Zen ecosystem. So everybody loves the first principle ethos. We love this idea of this fair distribution, but it's the yin and the yang. There has to be that burn on the other side to eat up all of that inflationary supply that's coming. And we can't, as a community, sit around and expect you and Jack to build all of these applications to burn the Zen. So me personally, I was brainstorming ideas of how I could contribute to it. And this was what came to me. I was a player of some similar experiments that happened back in 2018. And I always found these kind of games to be really fun. And I wanted to bring that same sort of excitement and degen spirit to the Zen ecosystem. And and I was lucky to meet Jama Beans, and he helped me bring it to life. What was your why, Jama Beans? Why did you want to help me with this?
Well, I like to do stuff to help Zen. And it seemed like most people, they're either selling their Zen or they're burning their Zen for another protocol. And both of those, one of them eliminates Zen, and the other one drains the liquidity pool. So by doing it this way, we're able to boost up that liquidity pool, that native token side of it, and burn Zen at the same time. So we needed something that did both. And that's when I heard about this. I was familiar with the old game that we modeled this off of. And I was actually working on something kind of similar. So it seemed like a great fit for me to come in and really do what I can to make this project work.
Yeah, awesome. You're in the background, Jamabees, helping out a little here and there. You're one of those super seniors who make the whole engine possible.
Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, Jama Beans is credited on the VMPX contract. He wrote one full line of code.
Yeah, but also went through everything to make sure it was good on other parts. So it was very helpful. Great to have both of you in this ecosystem. I see the questions coming in, guys. It's great. I'm marking them, so they're all going to be answered at some point at least. 5% from every game goes to Apex holders. That's great. Yes, we also have. Can some with no keys or Apex burn? Yes, right? Because that's the beauty of this. You can participate in just one aspect. You can just sit and push the burn button if you want.
There actually is a requirement to use the burn function, and that's that the player has to have a registered name.
Okay.
Or with the equivalent of a referral link, right? But that is a requirement to use the burn function.
So yeah, we should talk about that more deeply, the registration of names and then also referrals. Should we move on from the burn aspect? I think we covered it pretty well.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see because it's something that others can model as well if it works as expected.
Yeah, Jama Beans did a great job of siloing the contracts. So the burn fund is its own contract. The Apex fund is its own contract. And people can use those as just building blocks if they want to add a buy and burn to their project, or if they want to reward Apex NFTs. It's super easy to do it. Just go ahead and copy the code and apply it to your own protocol.
Right. So we got this question again, but you still have to register in order to activate or initiate the burn function. You have to have a username registered. So let's talk about that. What does that entail?
So that's the deterrent from people making 50 different wallets. They do have to register a username, which costs 0.02 Ether. And that's as simple as putting in an alphanumeric name and clicking register. And then once your name's registered, it'll show in the recent activity when you do any important actions. It'll show up at the top when you're winning the game. And then you'll have access to the burn fund as well.
Awesome. It's as simple as that. Maybe show how easy it is to register a name.
Yeah, one second.
Javins, where can we see the code?
On my GitHub. I'll share it with Twitter. I shared it a long time ago inside the dev group for the other devs that are working with Zen. But we'll make that link more public, or we'll get it in the docs.
Yeah, I also tweeted out all of the contract links 1 or 2 days ago. So if people scroll down in the Twitter a little bit, they'll find all the links and they can see the contracts on the live. They can see the code on the live contracts.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and it's verified, so you could see it on the Etherscan.
You guys have been very communicative with the community, you should let's go through that as well. Show your Twitter and Telegram links so people can go follow you there at some point.
Yeah, definitely. I just wanted to answer your question about the nickname. It's right. As easy as just typing a name in this box right here and then clicking. Can you see this okay?
Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah, so it's as easy as just typing your username into this box and then clicking register name. And then you'll confirm that in MetaMask. And after that, you'll see your referral link here. You'll see how many referrals you have, how many rewards you've accrued. And I don't have that in this presentation here, but it's all very self-explanatory.
Also, so yeah, referral. That's something I'm very excited about. Everything is networking, building networks, and we do it with tech, we do it with finance, we do it socially. So how can we tap into network amplification effects that has worked very well in the past in various aspects? Well, referrals is a very good thing with that. And basically what it means is that I reach out to people in my network in real life or online and tell them, hey, I'm doing this cool thing. You should try it. And if you try it, use this link. And if you do it, it's better than if you go to the UI directly, because you get a bonus for doing so, or a discount. And if you do so, I will also get one. So this is pretty much how the most basic referral system works, and what you implemented here, right?
Exactly. Yep. You'll have a simple link which says XEN.game / your username, and you can share that anywhere. And if people come through to the site and buy keys using your link, it's sticky, so it'll stick to your wallet, and you'll have that referral associated with you until they change it or use someone else's link.
And this is awesome because, if you have a large network, you can just use it. Let's say Trevon plays the game. He's been very active in helping the game come alive and testnets and stuff. But just as an example, he can tell his listeners or whatever person with a large network, hey, use this discount, and then he can make some money out of that, which he should, because he's marketing the game. It's good for everyone, and his viewers can get discount to participate. So how does that work? That fee discount distribution? It's 5% for both ways somehow.
That's right, and you'll just see it accrue in your referral rewards section. So if you're referring people, you'll see, you've referred 10 people and you've collected however much ether, and then you can withdraw that at any time. And then if you're somebody who used a referral link, then you'll see in your referral rewards all the rebates from your key purchases. So every time you purchase a key, 5% will get deposited into your referral rewards, and you can withdraw that whenever you want.
Awesome. Yeah, that would be interesting to see. Like if you Jamo Beans, you're going to create a dashboard as well, because there's a lot of data surrounding this game that can be interesting to follow up. Is there anything of that data which is relating to referrals? It's cool to measure the.
We do track the total number of referrals that a person gets on the backup site. And,
that's a metric.
And that one does show a little more data. And that data is one of those things that if enough people just start requesting it, then I'll start displaying it on the UI.
Yeah. And analyzing data is super important. Like Joseph did with the DBSN. It added a lot of value, of course, to participating in that.
Definitely. And I think XENturbo.io, they've mentioned that they're going to be adding some XEN.game stats on there as well. So it'll be interesting to see what their dashboard looks like and what metrics they choose to include.
Where does the 0.02 ETH from registering go to?
That's a donation to us as the developers. So it's something you can choose to do if you want to support us. If you don't, you don't have to have a name registered to use most of the functions. The only one that requires the name is the burn fund.
Gotcha. Yeah, if you want to support the team, just be working on this a lot. It's a small price to pay, I'd say.
Yeah, and it'll help us build more and bring other exciting things to the community later. Right.
Yeah, it's not easy being a first principles builder. I always say the builders are the heroes of the story. No pre-mines and no scammy things. Everything's transparent. So anything we can do to support, I think, is great. What percentage goes to Zenburn? You had on that one pager. You'll probably share that one pager in your various groups and on Twitter, I guess, as well.
Yeah, I'll post that on Twitter right after this. It's 15% to the burn fund. So that revenue distribution goes 50% to key holders, 30% to the jackpot, 15% to the burn fund, and 5% to the Apex.
How did you decide the distribution of all those? How much to give to what bucket, so to speak?
So I ran a lot of simulations in Python early on, and for this game model to work, it's most important that players get a good return, first of all, and that the jackpot has significant growth. So the two largest distributions go toward key holders and the jackpot for those reasons. And then after that, there's sort of an extra 20%, which can be used however we want. And I thought the biggest portion of that should go toward buying and burning Zen, because that's a really powerful mechanic. And then I wanted to reward Apexes, but they don't actually add any value to the game itself. So that's why they got the smallest cut there with 5%. And that's the logic that went into that.
Yeah, seems fair. Yeah, guys. So we've been talking about the refer and earn. I love that. The burning of Zen, registering your Apex. What do you guys think? How to buy keys, etc. What advice would you give someone in the Zen community? How to participate in all of this? Just do a little bit of everything, or focus on one thing first, or how do you get an in to the game to feel comfortable with it?
What do you think, Jama Beans?
There's just so many ways to participate. If you have an Apex, you really need to go register it. That's just missing free rewards if you don't. Same with the burning function. If you're looking forward to an XN allocation and you want to burn Zen, you're going to be able to burn it here cheaper than if you bought it yourself and burnt it. So that's another way. And then, of course, the buying of keys. It depends on the person's outlook, their timeline, their risk levels. There's a whole bunch of different ways to play this game. And I guess that's part of the game theory. You're going to have to see what fits you and your own tolerances, I guess.
I mean, it's pretty exciting in the sense that this jackpot, it can get pretty big, like, because it can go on for a long time. Like, you're going to be pretty incentivized to keep an eye on it. That's very smart, because a lot of capital is going to come to this jackpot fund, right? And you have, for each new purchase of keys. So if I buy one key, that adds 30 seconds. If I buy 2 keys, does that add 1 minute?
Exactly.
Okay. So if you buy, we should talk about that. The pricing of the keys. That's an important factor, because there's some jacking mechanism going on there. That's probably the most important thing about this whole concept.
Yeah, so that's something people will want to keep an eye on. The key price resets. So it stays within a range, which starts at its lowest point, which is 1/10,000,000th of the jackpot value. And then it resets when it reaches 1/1,000,000th of the jackpot value. So it'll stay within this range, bouncing back and forth. And each time a key is purchased, it increments toward the top of the range. And when it hits that or exceeds that, then it gets dropped right back down to the bottom. And it's important to note that it's never going to be as cheap as it was the first time it was at the bottom, because it's relative to the jackpot size. And by the time it resets again, the jackpot is bigger. So that low key price will still be higher than the low key price from the last reset. But this is an important mechanic to pay attention to, One thing to know as well is that it won't reset until the transaction after the one that exceeds the threshold. So if it's about to hit the threshold and somebody comes and buys 1,000,000 keys, it's going to keep pushing that price up way beyond the reset threshold. And this actually happened to you, Zensu, in the testnet. You came in and you dropped a few thousand XN in one buy, I believe.
I have a lot of XN, so I just aped in.
So what happened was you ended up pushing the price multiple X's higher than the reset threshold, and you overpaid for all of those keys that were above the threshold. So it would have been much wiser for you to come in and buy in chunks, because then the price would have reset and you would have got a better average price rather than buying it all at once.
But do you get a discount for buying more chunks? You don't actually.
It's not a discount. It's just that the price would have reset. So if you would have bought in, one small chunk and that pushed the price over the threshold, then your next chunk would be at the very bottom of the range.
Right.
And then you could have bought several more chunks and then it would have reset and you could start buying from the bottom of the range again.
So you could have a system in which, sort of like Frenda Tech has, where the price just goes up as more people buy the keys. But why did you choose to have this rebalancing mechanism? For it not to be too expensive? It just has a breathing elasticity.
So part of it is to not let the key get too expensive, because people have tried similar models before, where they just let the key price increment forever, and it eventually becomes cost prohibitive for people to play the game. So it prices a lot of people out and it lowers the participation. So with our game, the price of a key will never be more than 1/1,000,000th of the jackpot. So if the jackpot is $1 million, the price of a key will never be more than $1. And I think that's a fair place to have it. On top of that, the reason to have this reset mechanism is because it manufactures periods of demand. It prevents the game from going stale, because people will get excited when the price of a key drops 90%. And that'll cause a new rush of capital to come in to try to buy those cheap keys. And that drives more dividends to other players, drives more money into the burn fund, drives more money to the Apex holders, and everybody wins as a result.
Right. Guys, I'm so excited about this. It's like it's sort of like new territory what we're doing here, because we're creating games which are just completely transparent. It's fair. It's based on a platform and a community who can participate together in this together. It's something that DeFi hasn't been exposed to in a way. Do you agree with that?
I think people have been exposed to similar things, but nobody's done it this way before. We've definitely changed a lot of things, made it more transparent, more fair, and I think we've made the model much more sustainable.
Right. Yeah, there was this game like FOMO 3D, which you borrowed the concept of buying keys from, basically, which got a lot of hype. You bought keys and it went to a jackpot and so on and so forth. But you added so many more components to this.
Yeah, we added a lot of components to try to make it more fair, more equitable to people, and obviously benefiting the whole Zen ecosystem, which benefits people who aren't even involved in the game.
So this is an interesting aspect. Like, I don't think the game will ever end, Midnight Decipher. So I have to admit that my initial thought of this game was, why? Of course, it should potentially go on forever, but it might not. Like, there might be pockets of low activity where focus is somewhere else, and somebody's sitting there and like paying attention to this game, and then brings in the jackpot, and well deserved if it happens. But I thought initially, like, why would you do that? Because wouldn't it be better to have like shorter rounds? It would be more interesting. It would be like, oh, we have a round for a week now, and then another round for 2 weeks or whatever, and then it circulates. But what I realized is, it's sort of, even if it never ends, it's not necessarily a bad thing as well. I mean, it's awesome for the guy who wins the jackpot, of course. He's going to be a happy guy, happy gal. But there's so many elements to this game, so it doesn't really have to end as well for it to be exciting.
That's right. And personally, I'm hoping it doesn't end. But I don't want to give anybody any expectations. But it's designed to last as long as possible. We don't want round one to ever end.
Why
so
not? Why didn't you make it like shorter, like more games, basically?
Well, first of all, there would be no fair way to end a round early, right? Because if we're going to cut a round short, we have to basically give advantage to somebody and say, okay, it's ending in 30 seconds. Whoever buys before that wins. And that kind of defeats the game theory model here. But on top of that, it's a big incentive when you have a big jackpot. And so if round one accrues a massive jackpot, this is like a proverbial carrot that's dangling in front of people, causing them to draw more capital and more capital into the game, which benefits everybody. And if we reset that frequently, then this carrot would get smaller and smaller with each round, and that would mean less capital flowing in with each round. So it's best that if we can secure a big jackpot on round one, that we hold on to it for as long as possible.
Right. So together with the referral system, for instance, this is two synergetic forces, right? At one point, it might be so, and the probability for that is pretty high, that the jackpot goes to substantial amounts. So that's going to make the news, and you can profit on that by marketing it. So having the referral system there is awesome. You can just spread it out to all the channels. Hey, there's a jackpot going on here, guys. Come into the Sun ecosystem. So it's pretty cool. That's like it's a project that's super exciting to see what that effect is. It has the potential, at least, to burn a lot of Zen.
Definitely, yeah. There's still 14 trillion Zen waiting to be burned for apexes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that's going to be very exciting. What do you think, Yama Beans? Can we get any numbers or speculation? How big will the jackpot be within the 6 months?
I have no idea how big the jackpot will get. It's hard to say. I try not to think about it.
Yeah.
But as far as what you guys were saying a moment ago about making the game long or short, we did make it short. The game lasts less than a day unless someone comes and extends it.
Mm.
So it's the players that make it long. But I expect there to be a little boost in the beginning and then a little slowdown and then a huge rise. This is just what I experienced with the past game that was similar with FOMO 3D.
Mm.
It didn't start out very big, but it slowly got more and more promoters.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden it just took off.
There's no rush, like there's no moment of stress in this, in a way. You want to register your Apex like early because that makes perfect sense, of course. But if you have a certain amount of capital, I mean, we all have limited amounts of capital to participate in all these various projects. How should you think? Should you spread it out over a period of time? You shouldn't go all in at once. Could be good to be a little tactic there, I guess. There's no FOMO, so to speak, in this.
It depends on your strategy. So I would say, if you're somebody who wants to own a ton of keys so that you can collect dividends for the entire round, then you might want to just do big buys in the beginning of the game. But if you're somebody who really wants to win that jackpot, you don't want to go all in at once. You want to slowly buy one key at a time every time it gets close to the end. So there's really no way to give someone advice without knowing what their personal strategy is.
Right. All changed. So you're starting with ETH, and then you made a poll on Twitter a day ago or so, asked what the community thought where you should go next, and where do you suspect that you will go next, and when? It's always good to have some time frame to analyze the game on one chain, not rushing into the other one ASAP, right?
Definitely. Yeah, I think we need to give Ethereum some time to breathe. I think we need a little vacation as well. And then I don't know where we're going next. Polygon won that poll by a landslide. So it seems like there's a lot of demand there. And I know there's a lot of liquidity there compared to some of the other chains. So we might be able to launch it on Polygon without adjusting the mechanics too much. But we don't have anything set in stone yet.
Right. So let's see, guys. Come in with your questions. There's some I saved I want to save to the end. What else do you guys want to talk about? You have a dashboard as well, Java Beans. I don't know if you want to show that. It's pretty cool.
Sure, we could show that. That's actually the backup site. As you can see, the countdown is live at the moment. This is when the game goes live. You'd be able to come in here and just click on your NFT. To register it. It's not showing the pop-up here, but it's coming up on my screen. It costs about $2.57 to register an NFT at the moment. These are not Apex NFTs. Those are collectors that you're looking at. On the backup site, it shows you all your NFTs. It just loads them. But the Apex ones are the only ones that have points associated with them. At the moment, nobody has registered any NFTs.
So, but the contract is live, but the UI is not updated, or
yeah, the UI is not updated. I was working on this one. I was working on this last. There's some touching up I need to do, but yeah, we're gonna have this dashboard up. It's gonna have a little more active stats, like a chart. You'll be able to see the past key buys. There's a little bit of stuff that's on the other site that's not on here. A little bit of stuff on here that's not on the other site. But this is considered the backup site. We thought it was important, since this has a countdown associated with the game, that if one site went down, there was at least one other that was going that we made. So that's what this is. And also you can interact directly with the contract just by sending it ETH or whatever the native token is, and that will buy keys. You don't actually need an interface to buy keys.
That's awesome. Is that also true for the burn function, for instance?
For the burn function, you would have to call the function named burn_zen. So you wouldn't be able to just send. We didn't associate the burn with the fallback function like we did in this case.
Show also your documentation, which is exemplary, your Git book, because there you have all the information that we talked about today, basically.
My GitHub?
GitHub, also the Git book.
Oh, he's talking about the docs.XEN.game.
Docs, yeah. Share it in the stream as well here. Did you find it?
Ludwig might be quicker to pull that up.
Yeah, I can pull it up. Let's see.
Pull it up, man. Who has made the design of all these one pagers and the site and all of that? And the UI looks slick.
Thank you. I do all that myself.
Okay, nice.
Every graphic you see associated with XEN.game is made by me.
Awesome.
Can you see this, the docs here?
Just gonna add it. Here we go. Yeah, so docs.zen.game.
That's right, docs.zen.game. You can come here. There's a one-page overview, and then there's a detailed explanation of all the different aspects of the game. And I recommend everybody just give it a quick run through before you play the game, because there are some things in the game that might be a little surprising, like the way the key price resets. So just go through so there's no surprises for you. And if you have any questions, always come into the Telegram and ask me directly. I'm almost always available.
And what's your Twitter handle?
It's just zen.game with DOT spelled out.
Zen.game.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything you're doing, you're basically communicating there.
Yeah, everything's there on Twitter and Telegram. So if you're part of either one of those communities, you won't miss any updates.
Guys, I think we covered everything. Guys, come in with your questions. What else?
I can show the end game here. So what happens when the game ends? This page comes up here, and you can see, first of all, at the top, yeah, the winner, Zensu. Congrats, man. You see how much the winner.
Thank you. It wouldn't be possible without all of you. I want to thank my mom.
So you see who won. You see how much they won. You see how much went to the apexes. That's the end game bonus. You see how much went to the people that burned their keys. That's the end game bonus as well. You see how much carries over into the next round. And then you'll also see any unclaimed key dividends that you didn't claim during the round, and you'll be able to claim them here. And then you'll also see your personal key burn bonus. So if you did burn keys during the round, you'll see your accumulated percentage of that here. You'll be able to withdraw it, and then you'll see at the top here, it's a countdown until the next round begins.
This view is open for everybody.
That's right. This is what the website will show once the round is over.
Okay.
So this page here will automatically turn into this page here.
Right. Yeah, anything can happen, right? The game can go on forever, but can also stop at one point sooner or later. So that's very interesting. What determines the end of a game? Time-based after-life purchase of keys or dollar-based trying to strategize? Well, it's basically every time someone buys a new key, it adds 30 seconds to the counter. When the counter goes to 0, that ends the game. So as long as people buy the keys, it's going to go on forever.
Yeah, as long as there are at least 2 people fighting over it, the game will keep going. And it's not money based. The way to win is not spending the most money here. It's important to note that it only takes 1 key to win. So it might just be somebody might just swoop in at the last second and get lucky and buy that last key, and they haven't spent much at all, but they take home the jackpot, and that's just how it works.
That is an interesting dynamic. So it's not about being early, but it is in a case as well, because you can register your Apex, and you can help marketing the game with referrals. You can be active in burning, etc., etc. But when it comes to the jackpot, it's all strategy.
That's right, and it'll be so interesting to see how people behave. This model, war of attrition, has been studied in many different business schools with many different experiments, and it always produces the most insane outcomes that people can't even expect. So it'll be really fun to see what happens here.
What did you call it? War of
attrition, which is basically, it's a style of war where basically 2 different teams are spending all of their resources, and whoever runs out of resources first loses. And this has happened in many real life wars, but also in many economic models. And I posted on Twitter a while ago, somebody who was studying this model at Stanford for a long time, his name was Jay Levin.
Oh, really? Oh,
And
yeah, you posted something about that. I remember.
Yeah, he wrote a long paper on wars of attrition, and anyone can look that up. He went to Stanford, and I think his name was Jonathan Levin, but I just thought it was a funny coincidence.
Exactly. Yeah. I saved some questions. Let's see. This was from before. Craig Crypto. Awesome to see you, Craig Crypto. Always supportive. What's the time range of a game? It's 12 hours and it adds 30 seconds for each key used, constantly dropping down.
Yeah, so the maximum that the timer can get to is 12 hours. So that doesn't mean the game ends in 12 hours, but you can think of it like an hourglass. There's only so much space in there for sand to get added. And basically our timer fills up at 12 hours.
Right. How is Zen used in the game? We covered that with the accumulated funds coming in and then going through the burn function. The ETH that comes in gets routed to Uniswap to buy Zen from the market and burn it, which is pretty smart. You get a drip from registering your Apex for how long in perpetuity? As long as your Apex is registered.
Yeah, it's in perpetuity.
Right. So it makes sense. If you have Apex guys, just go in and register all of them. It's the way to go. Can't you just make multi-wallets and abuse the burn function? Some of these we've answered already. Jamabins, you want to go with this one again?
So the burn function does require that a player have a registered name. So you couldn't just randomly use any wallet. You would have to go through the effort of making sure the wallet's qualified. And even then, it would take several wallets, but we do have something in place there that keeps it fairly honest. And you should be able to access that burn function like anybody else if you feel like calling it. Like, I don't think anyone's going to sit there and there's a little bit of fees involved with making the trade. So they're not just going to sit there and call it every moment that they can. They would try and do it strategically. If it was someone that was trying to just milk the burn function. So I personally think players will be the ones that call it the majority of the time, active, honest players.
Right. Yeah. And these stats are super interesting to follow as we go along. Like, how many times is the burn function called upon? How is the purchase of keys flowing through time? How is the referrals ticking up, etc., etc. So all of this is important data. We have Joseph in the house. Only celebrities.
Welcome, Joseph.
Is the game gas dependent in any way?
Yeah, Jama Beans, you want to speak on that?
Well, there's a gas cost every time you make a transaction. So if we're reaching the end of gameplay, if the timer is ticking down and gas is high because of something out of our resource, out of our control, maybe some NFT drop, or who only knows, people launch a token like VampX and then it drives the price of gas up. That's definitely going to affect how much it costs to buy that one additional key at the end, if that's what you're shooting for, is the gameplay. So in that sense, it's dependent on gas. But other than that, it's not dependent any much so than any other contract that's out there.
Right. So do we have to consider purchasing keys with low GUI, or is the gas relative to the key price pretty low, no matter what GUI, more or less? It
So
depends on
basically,
how much the function requires.
basically the cost of buying keys isn't going to make a difference whether you're buying one or whether you're buying 1,000 or 10,000. It's not affected in the same way that, say, a Zen FT is, a Zen torrent, by the number of VMUs driving up the gas. This is done in a much different way, but it's not going to affect gas depending on how many keys you buy or when you buy, other than the average gas price that's out there.
Yeah. Imagine someone extending the time 12 hours when there's only 12 seconds left. Yes, this can happen.
It is very, very possible.
Yeah.
It only takes 1,440 keys to add 12 hours.
Oh, 1,140 keys. I mean, it's exciting, but it's extremely frustrating too. It's the yin and yang of this game. You're gonna feel, yeah, I'm about to win, and then someone just adds a lot more. There's gonna be a lot of frustration too. Let's not cover up that fact. It's part of the game.
Yeah, the first line I put in the docs at the very top, it says, "This game is not for children or the ill-tempered," and that's because people may smash their screen if they're going for that jackpot, and somebody does exactly what Sir Ank said.
Right. I would say an interesting discussion is also a distinction, and this is of course very much up to the interpreter individual. It's a philosophical discussion, but there's a difference between gaming and gambling. And I would say this is gaming. This is not gambling. And the distinction I take is that I've been to Las Vegas 3 times and never once gambled anything. I'm just like, I don't like the game to begin with. It's set up so the bank will win. I don't want to participate in it. I don't feel the enjoyment of it. A lot of people do. They like it. I like sports, but I don't like gambling. But this is a game. This is not gamble. And the distinction is that it's a lot more with strategy than luck. I mean, there's not so much. There's a little bit of luck, of course, always, but it's almost exclusively strategy.
Yeah.
So it's up to you to participate, and that's the distinction I made. What do you guys think of this?
Yeah, well, for me, the distinction is that gambling games are predicated on chance. So there's a specific chance of you winning. Whereas in this game, it's player versus player. So you win if your strategy is better than everybody else's. There is no set percentage chance of you taking the jackpot.
Yeah, well, if you buy a key, there's 100% chance you are the jackpot winner unless someone steals it from you by buying another key.
Right.
So,
it's sort of like Eric Wald's orb in a way. You're the key holder for the moment.
Yeah.
Until someone steals it from you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only way you lose is if someone takes it from you. The leader position.
Yeah. We have Tricity Vest in the house. The cheapest Apex on ETH is 1.88 ETH at this moment. Oh, that's pretty cool to know. Yeah.
Well, that's if you're buying on OpenSea, I believe. I think you can mint a rare for much less than that at this moment.
Yeah, probably. Can we register our Apex before the game starts? Can we go in now and register the Apex?
Yes, you can.
Okay. But where do I go? Because if I go to XEN.game, is the site live or not?
So you won't have the interface for registering apexes until the round begins. So you're not going to be able to do it through the main site, but you can go to the backup site, which is XEN.game.app. You can also go directly to the contract address that I shared on Twitter. It's the Apex contract, and you will just you'll go to the tab that says Write Contract. You'll scroll down to the function that says Register Apex, and you'll put in your token ID, your Apex ID rather, and then you'll submit the transaction, and it'll be registered.
Awesome. So I'm sharing the site here. XEN.game.app, guys. So you can go.
So I need to push an update to that. I'll push it here this evening.
Okay.
That way it'll show. Right now, it's XEN.game.app is mostly just showing the X1 game, and if you go with your wallet, connect to a different network, it's not going to like that. But I just need to push a button and it'll update, and you guys could register your NFTs. You could register names, and you could see the live countdown.
Awesome. Can you have more than one name?
Yes, you can, but if you remember Zensu, you can't change your original name. So you registered Bambi and you wanted to change to Zensu.
Yes.
You can register Zensu, but it's only going to give you another custom referral link. It's not going to override your main username. So it'll still show your first name when you're winning or in the recent activity.
The first one is important. I can register more if I want other refer links, depending on whatever. It can be an event. It can be whatever. XEN.game. I'm in Singapore right now. Token 2049. I want to promote it here. I tell people, hey, play this game. So it could be good to have a customized refer link for that reason or something.
Yeah,
it's all
totally.
Yeah.
And what people sometimes do with these links, maybe I'm giving people bad ideas, but some people will create a very generic link that says something like XEN.game/play. And then they'll put this on Google Ads to come up as the first thing that comes up when you search XEN.game. So people click on that thinking it's the official link, and they end up getting all that traffic themselves. Something to think about.
Yeah, and as we talked about, it's all network effects. So all of these different tricks we can pull together to grow the network faster. We're doing it on chain with transactions by interacting with Zen. So word of mouth and communicating. You can change the world by building it in, by communicating or legislating, basically. So communication is a big part of making stuff change. Do we have to be faster than a bot to win the jackpot, Jama Beans?
No. Even if a bot bought the last key, it's still going to add 30 seconds to the timer. So it's not like they could race in at the last moment and front run you. You have time for the UI to adjust and for you to purchase another key if needed.
Gotcha. Let's see here. Exactly. Well, everyone's out for New Year's. I'll be playing. Yep. Yeah, it could be good when everybody's opening Christmas presents or something like that. That's when you want to start the game. How does it work on mobile? Does it work on mobile?
It does. Yeah, it's working on MetaMask mobile. The interface is 90% optimized for mobile. There is a bit of crowding in the header specifically, but all the functions will work. It just won't look quite as sexy as the desktop version.
The backup site, let me say that because you asked, the backup site does not work very well at all on mobile. It's mostly made for desktop. I'm not a CSS guy, but I'll probably update that. But that's what it is.
Yeah, so it's quite addictive. Everywhere you go, you will keep an eye on what the count is, what the countdown is, I guess. Joseph, it'd be interesting if the Apex bonuses were distributed to any SNFT owners, with the weight based on estimated Zen that's carried in the SNFT itself. Centurions would be lower than Apex. Yeah, I guess there's infinite amounts of game theory in these. There's 4 million minted SNFTs, and there's infinite amount of game theory. So somewhere you have to choose. I kind of like that you just targeted Apex to properly give them utility as the first protocol to really do so as well. What's your guys' thoughts there? But
Yes.
Just to finish with Joseph, before you answer that, I think it would attract more players, my opinion only. Note, we have only 974 Apex NFTs on ETH, while there is 45,972 collectors. So I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this, because this is awesome stuff that Joseph brings up. Now, since there's so many NFTs minted, and Apex is something that people value very high, because they burned a lot for them, and it's been in the air that they're gonna get utility from you guys. We are working on it as well. I mean, it's very smart of you guys to include them, give them utility, because you're tapping into an existing network of users already who have an incentive to come to your protocol. This is the same strategy that we have for X1 as well, with the burn records. Like, if you burn any Zen on any chain, you have an incentive to come to X1, and I think that's going to be extremely powerful. But yeah, go ahead, guys. What do you think about all this stuff?
So this last point that he made is exactly the reason why it's only Apexes. There are only 974 Apexes minted so far on Ethereum. And the goal of the Apex Fund is to push for the rest of those to get minted out, because that will burn 14 trillion Zen, which is a massive supply of Zen. So if we were to allow all of these collectors to register in the Apex Fund as well, they would dilute all of the rewards for the Apexes, and then there wouldn't be as big of an incentive for Apexes to get minted out. But on some of these other chains, Polygon, where all of the Apexes have already been minted, then this is not a concern. We don't need to incentivize the Apexes to get minted out. So in that case, we will include collectors and allow other people to participate. But on Ethereum specifically, the goal of the Apex Fund is to drive that burn.
Do you want to add to that, Jama Beans?
Definitely, that's the goal, is we like to burn Zen. I'll add to that by saying I haven't forgot about the collectors. I'm working on something for that too.
Ooh, what's going on? Do you ever sleep?
Rarely. No.
Okay. Some alpha right there. Something to look forward to. But as you say, I think you bring up a good point, Ludwig. There's inherently a lot of game theory within the Apex. They're gonna burn 14 trillion Zen. So tapping into that network, tapping into that burn, it will happen eventually. It's just a matter of when, and they're gonna gain more and more utility. So interesting to see. Even on ETH, you may actually burn a lot more from 45K collectors that participate than if all Apex burn, and those are only players that can ever enter your game. Yes, there's a lot. Go ahead.
The thing about that is the burn fund itself is never going to burn 14 trillion. At least it can't in this moment, because it can only burn Zen acquired from the LP on Uniswap. And there's not 14 trillion Zen sitting there to be burned. So in my opinion, the way that we can burn the most Zen is by driving value to the Apexes.
Yeah. So XEN.game on Polygon next, please. Community voted. We want Polygon next, please. Yeah, I think Polygon is going to come eventually. If not the first one, probably one of the first ones, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's on the list. It's high up on the list.
High up on the list. Excited for this end game on Pulse Chain. Yeah, I guess you guys are going there as well.
Yep, also high on the list. A lot of demand on Pulse Chain.
Bill Mona X, how you doing, buddy? How about adding the rabbits? What is the rabbits?
Yeah, what are the rabbits? I don't know anything about the rabbits.
Maybe it means the limited.
I think he's talking about an old concept from FOMO 3D. There were buy-in teams that shared a jackpot. It was a part that was exploited from that game, which we didn't include in this. He could be talking about something else. I don't know.
There's
But
a rabbit.
I don't know. But
Maybe
Timo, it's too late for us to make changes. We already posted the contracts.
Yeah. Eventually Cardano. Yeah. Yeah. I met the Cardano guys yesterday in what do you think of my shirts? My shirt I made with just this marker. We didn't pre-mine, so we don't have any money to buy fancy t-shirts. So you just make up with what you have.
It's lovely. It really captures the essence of Zen.
Exactly. The DIY community. Yeah, I'm taking orders. 10 billion Zen for one. And I will wear one for one day and wear it in Singapore and make it wet with all the sweat. And then I will send it to you. So it's real Zensu sweat. Just kidding. Yeah, so in any case, great job, Jags. I see a lot of thought went into this. Good luck. And if you need an extended stats, you know where to go. Yes. Cool to see Joseph, always supportive with stats on Sun.pop.
Thank you, Joseph.
Yeah, guys, I think what else do you wanna talk about? I think we covered most.
I think we covered everything. I had one more slide on here, but that was just to get into what we did in the testing phase. There's not much to talk about here. This just shows you how rigorously we've tested this. I mean, we did a V1 testnet over 150 rounds. We did V2 on X1, over 50 rounds played for that one too. We also ran a V2 test on Gurley testnet. That went great. And then we did a final contract audit and no critical vulnerabilities were found.
As I said, you've been creating this project and interacting with the community in an exemplary way, and that's also part of the reason why I wanted to make the stream to show others that you've done it in an awesome way, just like Phoenix did and DB10 team. So big shout out to you guys. Very well done. We're very happy to have you in the ecosystem. Of course, very proud of what you built. And yeah, I can't wait to see how this plays out. It's super exciting.
Thank you. Thank you for giving us a platform to come talk about it.
Anytime.
Yes, thank you.
So yeah, let's recap. Let's finish off by this. Let's recap going to the one pager maybe. Your intro was awesome. Just mention briefly. We started there, then we went out in all the different details, and then we can finish off with this one as well. And that will be the end of it.
Yeah, so I'll post this on Twitter for everyone to see and take a harder look at. But these are the core mechanics. You buy keys to win. You can register your Apex for passive rewards. You can burn some Zen just by paying a transaction fee. You can win the jackpot if you're the last person to buy a key. You can get Ethereum bonuses at the end if you have Apexes or if you burn some keys. And you can also refer your friends and earn money that way.
Yeah.
And that's XEN.game.
That's XEN.game. Awesome. So good. You should create a referral link that's to your team and post it as well. Maybe on your Twitter and stuff. I'll be happy to share that around.
Thank you. Yeah, we will have a referral link for ourselves as well. So if people choose to support us, they can either use our link or they can register a name, and that'll go to us as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would like to support. You just got to give them the option. Yeah, guys, people are excited. I think this is going to be awesome. Thank you so much again, and yeah, let's play the game. Let's do it. Let's register our Apex and buy some keys and do some referrals and try to burn a bit. Try to do everything. I'm in.
Let's do it. Thank you, Zansu.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Yeah.
My pleasure. Good to see you guys. And over and out. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.